sick of this weekend. I don't even want to hear it.
Hello, welcome back to This Takes the Cake. I'm Ashley with S&B Nashville, and I have here
Bianca with S&B Finger Lakes, New York.
whoop, whoop. Hope everybody has had a great week so far, and I just want to jump in with, like I said, I'm Ashley here in Nashville, and we've got Bianca here today too, so we're just going to jump right in. So, Bianca, how's this wedding season been for you?
It's actually been, I don't even dare to say, so I'll just say it's been great. It started a lot earlier this year, which is awesome, but at the same time, you know, it's a lot to take on, but it's so much fun.
Yes, I agree. It's been good. We've had a very hot season so far. Very humid. My wedding this past weekend was 98 during setup and got to 99 during ceremony time. It cooled off a smidgen after that, but not enough to say that it cooled off at all. It was a hot one, and that's what they're projecting for this summer. So,
Yeah, I saw that. We actually got messages. Obviously, everyone knows that I split my time, but there's a heat advisory this weekend for ours.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
a monster, like multiple tent installs. Like, it's a big one. So we're just kind of praying for the mountains to break it up a little bit and maybe give me some cool pockets for setup.
Yes, same thing for us. This last weekend, we added on fans like very last minute, and it was a busy weekend here in Nashville, so we got what we could get, and that wasn't much. So another perk of working with a planner, you have connections. So
Right, exactly.
Yes.
I love
So
Nashville.
any standout moments so far that takes the cake for you?
In good ways, yes, thankfully.
Okay.
It's definitely been kind of, we're so used to like being focused on weddings all season long, but this year we actually like kicked off the season with a bunch of smaller events and parties and more intimate gatherings, which was really cool and different.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had a fun time. Like, we've got the team spread out throughout the Finger Lakes now, and it just kind of opens up new avenues. And now we're, branching into different things that are in different towns for like the holidays and all of that stuff. So it's been fun. We've got festivals coming up, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I'm right there with you. I have had main focus has been a lot of weddings, but something that takes the cake for me would be a wedding that I had here lately. Groomsman did not pick up his jacket like I asked him to do 2 or 3 times, multiple beers in, you know how it goes, and cussed me out for taking his $600 jacket. I was like, come on, bro. Like, yeah. And needless to say, a groomsman had it because they knew he had been drinking and he didn't want to admit that they had it. It was a whole thing. And yeah, one of those this takes the cake moments. Like, really, you're cussing me out because I stole your $600 jacket? Okay, buddy.
Oh no. Well, at least you have a counterpart within the other groomsmen. Like, they're always looking out.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I got to apologize to me later. Like, sorry, that's just how he acts. Like, don't mind him.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay.
This is what we call a coachable moment.
Exactly. And that's what I said. I wanted to say, well, if you would have listened to me the first 2 times, we wouldn't have had to worry about this. But
It's
you live and you learn.
for motherhood, girlfriend.
Exactly.
It really is.
Exactly. Let's see. This episode, we're going to talk about things that are going on in each city and what the markets are like. So I'm excited because, me being in Nashville, but you being on the lakes, how different it is. And also, I'm sure many things could be similar. So we will start kind of jumping right in how you got started with S&B. I know we talked about a little bit of that at the previous episode, but go ahead if you want to start.
Yeah, just kind of like the overview synopsis, I guess, if you will. I stalked it for a while, stalked Sarah's developments and growth, and I knew I wanted to plan events and I wanted it to be with a good company and delivering the quality that I love and stand by. And it seemed like a no-brainer. So I ended up doing it with New York. Everybody thought I was crazy because I split and live half and half, and I probably am crazy, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't trade it because I know that I wanted where I grew up. I was born and raised, and I'm there all the time anyway. So why not plan events and make money and have fun too?
Yes, exactly.
And all with my family. So it's perfect.
Yes, that's such a very right there with you. And I think mine is kind of similar kind of situation. I stalked S&B. I knew of the famous S&B Hummer in Myrtle Beach when we were growing up, and like, oh, I would love to do that someday. And actually started with me reaching out to Sarah for an internship, but her positions were filled come to time being. And then circle back a few years later, and she asked me about working some events part-time while I worked for the hospital system. And honestly, the rest was history. I fell in love with it again and just liked doing different events for, big moments and not just like volunteering and things like that. So that really clicked with me, and kind of similar situation. Just, you knew that's what you wanted to do, and it's happened that way. And Nashville just made sense to me because it was close to home, but also, in the mountains like I grew up in, but also, not too far from the beach if needed. So
right. I feel like it's the perfect location.
Yes.
You get the cool, the calm, and the sun.
Yes. And we're in between like anything and everything. You can go west, you can go east, you can go north, you can go south.
Right.
So
it's perfect.
Yeah.
I love that.
So the next thing, what about events have made you decide this path for you?
Honestly, it's got to be, and it's funny because I capture this and I send it to my people afterward.
Mm-hmm.
It's the results. It's the smiles at the end of the night. It's the moments. It's those little pockets of time that they think no one's watching, but
Yes,
I'm crazy and I am, because that's
Right.
why I do what I do. But it's that's what it is. Like, I know we're going to get to it, but that birthday party that we just did not long ago was the end of May. Like, that evening in itself was so inspiring, and just, I don't know, it connects you with people that you wouldn't normally meet on a regular basis. And
Right.
I don't know, the relationships that you grow, and they become a part of you, I guess. So it's just cool. I enjoy it.
I agree with you. And a moment that sticks out to me is another past wedding weekend. The bride said she has not seen the ceremony space yet because it was different from where they were getting ready and everything, and just the way guests come in and the whole 9 yards. She hadn't seen it yet. And she vividly told me right after she got out of, after she walked down the aisle and everything, after they were married, and, right at the end as we're giving them their drinks and, congratulating them, she was like, Ashley, she specifically said, Ashley, this is everything I ever wanted. And it's like those moments, it's like, this right here is exactly why we do what we do. And it really clicked that, like, even though we love it, but just hearing that and, knowing that that's how they feel too about something that they've dreamed about for so long, it just like, it clicks with you. And even making the vendor friends and, everybody jumping in to help. And it's just amazing. And I love that part of it. So,
yeah. And it makes it easy. I will say that I do find some challenges. We've got some not this season specifically, but brides that are also like type A personalities, and they're very headstrong, and they are like in leadership roles, and rightfully so. Like, love those women. But at the same time, like, I feel like we have challenges with that, because it's like, okay, I want to make sure that your day is perfect, but you've got to be able to let it go.
Right. Exactly.
You've got to find that balance. And I think that that's one of the things that it's definitely like a seasonal, I guess, hurdle that you get over every year, is just trying to let them know that you're there for them. And like, once you build that and make that connection, I think that it's beautiful. Like,
yes, I agree. And I think too, something to feed off that too is like when you have like a month of client versus like a full or partial planning client, you don't get to build that friendship and relationship with them, that they are able to trust you by the time their wedding rolls around. Where as a month of client, they come on, that 6 to 8 weeks prior mark, and they're like, who is this? You know what I mean? Like, how do we know she's going to do what she says, or whatever the case may be? Where other people, it's like our full or partial planning clients, we get to bond with them throughout the process and figure out works best for them. If that's, updating them once a week, or, whatever the case may be, you learn those tendencies, and which I think is really important too. So
yeah, definitely.
So I think something kind of along those lines, or trends that's popular in your city and things you've noticed more versus, kind of steering away from.
Yeah. This one is funny because amongst vendors, we joke about this a lot, because where I am in New York, like automatically, whenever you say New York, everyone always immediately thinks the city.
Yes.
We're 4.5 hours from the city. We are.
Oh, wow.
We're out in the middle of the state. It's very, farm country. There's lots of lakes. Beautiful. I mean, beautiful. We're close to Canada, and it's just, we're not anywhere near the city. So trying to source all the things that people tend to, I guess, associate with the city is a little challenging.
Yes.
We've got to
Yes.
have a lot of stuff brought in, which is hard because I really like to, like, I'm a firm believer in keeping everything local. Like, that's the whole
Yes, I
purpose that I
agree.
wanted to have home, is because I wanted to highlight the talent that we have there. It's just
Yeah.
the talent that we have there is more eclectic, and it's not really the billboardy stuff. It's more down to earth, and wildflowers versus $50,000 worth of florals. Like,
Oh,
it's just a
yeah.
different aesthetic, and
Yeah.
I've seen that as my challenge. We do have some brides that do want that $50,000 aesthetic, which is gorgeous. It's just a matter of budget and sourcing it.
Right.
So I've definitely seen some challenges when it comes to like the trends and stuff hitting the area, because it's just not like, if you were ever to visit my hometown, that's not the
Mhm.
way it's built. Like, they don't care about that kind of stuff. It's not about
Yeah.
money. It's not about status. It's about people. And that's why I
Right.
wanted to be there, because I love that
I
about that
love
area.
that. And I think
Yeah.
Nashville, as you know too, I think Nashville's the complete opposite, because you're almost just a number here, where, you don't have that local, funny, I was going
Yeah.
to a tour today and I passed one of the vendor friends that I know on the interstate. We rolled the windows down and was talking back and forth because of the traffic. And,
Yeah.
which again, I love that for Nashville, but I thought that was really cool because you never get to see that. Whereas, like, I'm sure in your hometown or where you are, you might run into them at, the grocery store or wherever the case may be. Where here in Nashville, you hardly never run into anybody,
Yeah.
unless you're at a venue or at a networking event or whatever the case may be, which I think, like you said, it's just so different for between you
Mhm.
and me, just like, you're just a number here.
Yeah.
And there's so many vendors, where we have almost not competition, but like everybody has their own clientele, whether
Yeah.
it's, a florist that specializes in candles or more florals or whatever the case may be. But also there's just an abundant number of that. So depending
Yeah.
on, what the bride's budget is or what her likes are, you have a lot of options. And I think sometimes that tends to be like a hardship here, just because,
Oh, yeah.
you like who you work with, but also you want to make sure that they're, you know, needs are met as well in their budgets or,
Right.
whatever the case may be. So I think that's definitely a big difference between you and I. So
Yeah. Definitely very, there's definitely a gap, if you will, but it's a
yes,
good one.
I agree. I
I don't know.
agree. Okay. So the next one,
Yeah.
any trends that you haven't done that you really want to?
I mean, I know this sounds super sad because we've been doing it forever in every other location, and I've done it myself, like in
Uh-huh.
Charlotte and at the beach. But like the marquee letters and stuff that have been going on, like that's becoming huge. The big balloon installs is now becoming huge.
Yes.
Like, it's just those things that are just kind of like trickling in, and finally, I guess, soaking into the area, which is nice because we have more people that
Yes.
offer the services now. But
Right,
as
right.
far as, I mean, otherwise trends, I mean, if we could knock down some social media trends, that would be fun. But
Yeah.
again, like, my focus, like, I love all of our reels and stuff that SMB does. It's so fun. And I wish that I was like super talented like that to be able to create it, because when I'm in the moment
Yes.
and I'm setting up a wedding, there's days, and I'm not even gonna lie, I'm telling my assistants, I'm like, can you just please remember to get footage, because I'm in the zone
Right.
of like, it's wedding day. I'm trying to
Making
set
sure it's
up.
perfect. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got to get better with that, but that's a trend that I like and I want to do more of.
Yes, I have to agree with you on that. And I think a trend that I think would be really cool here, and I really want one of my couples to do, my sets of couples, would be the rehearsal dinner, welcome party, wedding day, almost after party, and then on the very last day, a farewell brunch. I think would be so cool. And I'm dying for that trend to kind of, there are some couples that have talked about it, but a lot of people just end up tending to put everything into that one day, whether it's your wedding day or, doing a welcome party.
Yeah.
And I think that's a trend that I would love to do. But I'm right there with you on the social
Come
media
visit me.
trends. I would love that. Do what?
Come visit me.
Yes, I need to.
Because most of my brides, it's so funny because on most of my consults now, it's not a wedding day anymore that they're looking for support with. Where I'm at, it's turning into a destination place. So everybody's coming there and they want to like
Ooh,
entertain their guests for the weekend. So I'm planning like boat
yeah.
tours and hikes, and
Oh my gosh, yes.
yeah, it's
Yes.
fun.
And
And I
and
love
that's
that
kind of
part.
what honestly I would have thought would have been big here in Nashville, just because
Yeah.
there's so much to do. And a couple clients that I've talked to, they, want their guests to stay downtown if they're getting married outside of downtown or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, just so they can enjoy those things. But I definitely think that could be a trend that becomes more popular, coming to Nashville because, like you said, it's becoming a destination place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a
I
great
love
time in
that.
Nashville when I was there.
Yes. There's
So
so
much
much to
fun.
do. There's
It is.
so much to do.
Yes.
Let's see the next one. Biggest challenge in your
Challenge.
city, weather, would you say, or
Uh, not this season.
okay, I'm
Um,
knocking
no,
for you.
I think yeah, I think the challenge for my area, I'm obviously not in a city, but it's just, you know, I guess what do you want to call it? Access, just access to
Yes,
the bigger, higher end rentals. There, we don't have a lot of rental places that do the higher end stuff. There's still a lot of places that have like the shell back chairs, and that should be a felony. I can't put those out of the wedding. I just can't do it. And just finding places that do offer those higher end items, like that's been a
yes.
struggle without having to bring them in from like the city and other areas.
Okay. Hmm.
What about
I
you?
think one thing for me here in Nashville, and it's always going to probably be an issue, and not, if not even harder, is parking. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
venues that are downtown, they one don't provide parking for your guests or anything. They expect you to Uber. And I have a vendor friend that actually lives not too far from downtown, and for any of her events, she actually Ubers or Lyfts or
Yeah.
whatever, just because she doesn't have to worry about parking. And parking is so expensive, like
It's
$40 to
crazy.
park, and then you've got,
Yeah.
yeah, every assistant that helps you, like that's a big chunk. And, and plus, you're going to a parking garage most of the time if you do park
Mhm.
down there, and it's blocks away, and, you're walking by yourself. And I think that's definitely something that's very hard
Yeah.
about being in Nashville, especially being, a woman, and, everything too. You just don't know. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that's it's always going to probably be an issue. I mean, it's not like they're going to build parking anywhere random. Like, it's kind of established. I know they are building somewhere parking, but I think that's always
Yeah.
going to be like something that's difficult for Nashville and the cities where, compared to you probably don't even have to worry about it.
Not really. There's usually like a winery or a field somewhere that we can put places
Yeah,
or put cars in. So it works out pretty well. Renting
a
golf carts has
field.
been a
I
huge
love that.
challenge. Well, it's
I
like
love
a
that.
little
Just park
farm
them in
country.
the field.
But I
Oh
mean,
my gosh,
it's
that's
beautiful.
hilarious. Yeah, I love that. That's funny. Let's see here. Biggest challenges this wedding season and your solutions. I know we touched a little bit about that so
Yeah.
far this year. You've had been pretty good. I think a challenge that I had was we had a late vendor load in here recently, and that put us all behind. And as you know, like here in Nashville, some venues, and I know Hannah from Atlanta has this issue too. And I don't know about you being, not in a city, but this would be another question for you. But some venues, they have a very small load in window. So for instance, if your
Oh.
ceremony is at 5:30, you can get in at 3. And
Mhm.
that, if your vendor load in times, like if, for instance, if your rentals are late or your florist is late, that window gets even smaller and smaller. And
Yes.
here lately, we have ran into that a couple times. And it's nothing that we can control because, unfortunately, like traffic, that plays a factor
Mhm.
into it, or, whatever the case may be. And this specific wedding, the rentals were late. And not only were the rentals late, when they arrived, our glasses were not water goblets, they were wine glasses. Well, that's not the look that the client wanted. So
Right.
we jumped in, everybody, including the florist and the venue. They were amazing. We all got it knocked out within like 30 minutes. We had every table set and arrangements on and everything because, unfortunately, the linens were with the rental company as well. So it wasn't like we could just throw those on go ahead and set
Right.
everything and then throw the linens on after. That's not how it works. So it was
Yeah.
a
It's hard.
learning experience for us. And I think nowadays, going forward on these specific venues, I'm going to request that the rentals or whatever be there 30 minutes prior to that window, even though I had mentioned that, but it was not, it was a busy weekend again for them.
Yeah.
And kind of just so for instance, if we can get in at 3, I want them in the parking lot at 2:30. So by the time that 3 o'clock rolls around, and just, yes, so they can back in and we can all jump in and get started. So I think that was definitely learning experience for us too. And like I said, we got it done and the bride never knew. I mean, still to this day, I don't think she knew. And everyone's like, how do you make it happen? And that's part of it, like we jump in and we make it happen, and and hope that the client or any guests or anything don't know. And that's was
Yeah.
the case for this one. So I think that was a hardship we've had this year. But other than that, we've not really, other than the groomsmen accusing me of stealing a jacket, we've been pretty good this year. Knock on
That is
wood.
not a challenge. We are not
Yes.
asking you to challenge us on that. Please make note.
Yes, that's
We don't want
yes.
that.
I was gonna say that's their problem.
Not at all. We don't want that.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Here, let's see. Speaking of, tell me a little bit about your favorite event you've done.
Oh, it's really hard because I have different favorites for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just go like with my most recent, like that. I'll refer to that party. And I think we're going to talk about it a couple of questions later. But
Yeah.
the 70th birthday, it was just, and it was so funny because whenever the inquiry came through, I thought it was a scam. Like, because we get so many fake inquiries and
Yes.
we're like, is it real?
Right.
So
Right.
we were getting notifications through the website, like you know how people text one line at a time? It was
Mhm.
coming through like that. And then it was like, it was from Nigeria. And I was like, I don't even know how to connect. So
Right. Right.
we figured out that it was a legit lead and we were talking and the family could not have been nicer. Like I was dealing with
Aw.
the client's niece. She was in Dallas.
Oh,
The
cool.
aunt was in the States, but leaving for Nigeria the next day. So we planned this party
Aw.
from like Nigeria through 3 different people and myself in
Oh my
31 days.
gosh.
Yeah. So we had,
Wow.
it was an obstacle. And let me tell you, like we had more elements than some of my weddings have had.
Wow.
We had the best vendors. They were all very, you know, they communicated well. Everybody was positive. Everybody was excited. And the client was like one of those people that you come across like once in a lifetime. She was very
Mhm.
just inspirational. Like they actually named
Aw.
a day after her at her party. Like there was people that
Oh
came
my
from her
gosh.
foundation and named a day after her. Like it was just
Aw.
to watch
I
like the
love
clips and
that.
stuff. Yeah, she has an orphanage. Like it was beautiful. Like we were standing in the
Oh
back
my
of the room and they're
gosh.
like honoring this woman and we're all sitting there with like full eyes of tears and it's just like you didn't expect a birthday party to be like that,
Yeah.
but we were all saps.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that I think is what's really cool. And that's another reason why I want to get more into doing different events too, other than weddings, because you just don't know what you're going to get to experience through that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, weddings are great, don't get me wrong, but you don't know who you're going to get to celebrate or, you know,
Mhm.
honor or whatever the case may be, similar to like what you said. And I love that. That is so sweet. And like you
Yeah.
said, something that's going to stick with you forever.
Yes. And she was just such a good person. Like, I don't know. It was one of those you had to be there moments to get that feeling that you get
Mhm.
and to see like all the kids on the screen when she'd go visit the orphanages and stuff. Like it was beautiful.
Oh,
But yeah.
oh my gosh. I love that. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, we're like,
I think yes, I think our next question is, and this is a hard one because I was thinking about this the other day when we were talking. If you had to pick a city to
I know
trade
this.
with, what would you pick?
You.
I
I
love it.
legit have it written on my sheet.
I love it. So why would you pick Nashville? I'm curious.
Because I am stupid in love with country music and all things
Yes.
that Broadway, and I know it sounds terrible, it has to offer. Like, I love the energy. I love the live music. I love when people are dream chasing. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know. I just love the vibe. So, and I
I
love that
love
it's
that.
close to everything and it has a cold season and a warm season.
I was gonna say yes. Well, and that would be something that I say is one reason why I really like here. But I was going to say if I had to trade, I would say that I want to split my time, kind of like what you do, but I want to be in maybe Florida or South Carolina for the winter months, and then
Sure.
for the summer months, somewhere like you or Chicago with Lauren, because we are right in between. We get both seasons. It is hot and cold.
Ooh. I mean, I was born and raised in New York, but when I lived in Chicago, that's a different kind of cold. Like, it is
Yes.
bone chilling cold because of that wind.
Oh,
Like, it's no joke.
yeah. Well, and that's like we had negative degree weather here in Nashville for the first time in a long time. And you think about that, but then you also think about 98 degrees on a wedding day in early June, late
Yeah.
May. That's just insane. Like you just like that's just insane. Like both ends of the spectrum.
Yep. You gotta cover it. We're
Both ends
seasoned,
of
if
the
you will,
spectrum. Yes.
for sure.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's
Love
see.
it.
Any specific traditions for your location? I'm excited about this one.
No, we actually talked about this a smidge when we did our last episode together,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
nothing crazy, nothing like the bourbon. But
Yes.
that was nuts, by the way.
Yes, that was really so kind of a backstory on the burying the bourbon. At the castle, the way the grounds are, there is not a great spot to bury the bourbon. Well, at the castle, there is this small door that is a tradition at the castle of years and years and years ago. They used to hide stuff in there, whether it was food or money or whatever the case may be, because it blends into the wall. You never know it's there unless you play with that door and not to know it opens. So when we were doing our last final venue walkthrough with the client, I was telling them, I'm like, oh, are you guys going to bury the bourbon? Well, they were from Atlanta and here in Nashville, and they had heard of it, but didn't really know much about it. So I explained the tradition from it, and they were like, oh my gosh, we have to do this. Their family was
That's
big
so
bourbon
fun.
drinkers. So they, fun story about the pit bourbon that they picked actually too. So they were they were driving somewhere together like after they had gotten engaged or something, and they were talking about it, and all of a sudden this article comes or not article, this like ad comes on for Jim Beam, and it was like perfect, like that's what we're doing. And so they decided to do that. They buried the bourbon, but it's actually in a door at the castle, and that is now going to be a castle tradition that you bury the bourbon. And it worked. We did not have any rain that day. It was absolutely beautiful. It was not too hot. It was not cold. It was the perfect day for the couple. And I have recommended it to many different clients now because I'm like, it helps. It works. Take
Actually,
the Southern tradition.
You need to pitch it to
Yes.
Lifetime.
Yes, I do. That's a great idea. Yes. That's such a great idea. And it was such a pretty wedding too that would be perfect. So yeah, that's a great idea. You can also find that video on our Instagram and TikTok. So if y'all want to see that. Let's see here. Jumping in next. What is your biggest misconception about event planning, would you say?
Mine or other people's?
Other people's.
That we only work on the weekends. Because, honey, I
agree.
myself every day, all day.
Yep. I would say that I had a friend of mine tell me like, oh, it's literally just putting some linens on tables. Like anybody can do it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay. So what are you going to do when they show up and they have stains? They're the wrong size and they didn't come in what you ordered. They're different colors. They're different materials. Because I had this happen at a May wedding. The venue was amazing, and the vendor was awesome. Like they were right back there with replacements in 45 minutes. But
oh, good.
Definitely bigger than a weekend job.
Yes, I agree. And yes, I'm right there with you. I think another misconception I've had too is or I've had people, say is, oh, you get to eat the food. You get to eat the catered meal that's so expensive. Most of the time, I'm either too hot or too busy to stop and eat. Like, even though we have a vendor meal, I usually don't eat it. Like, to be honest with you, I usually don't eat it. And I love my caterers, and it's nothing against them. And most of the time, I'll either bring to-go boxes to eat it once I get home at midnight or whatever it is, and I finally sit down for the first time for the day. But, or wedding cake, oh, you get to eat wedding cake all day, every day. Nope, not a chance.
Yeah. It's funny because I usually take my meal because you don't want to sit down, and for one, like
Right.
I know sometimes it's, and I think it took me a good, I don't know, couple years to actually drink water during an event because I was just so focused on what I was doing that I didn't pause and think, okay, you need to refuel, you need to recharge.
Yes.
And it is a great time to do it, but at the same time, like you want to make sure that if, I'm a big person with, I watch faces. So I don't know if it's just years of doing it, but I'm reading people. So if I look at the bride and the groom and they're looking around, I think they're looking for me. So I'm going to check in with them. And I don't want to be out of their realm to where they're like, well, where is she? Like, I never want that to happen.
Yes.
So
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, in a similar situation that happened to me one time, and this is another reason why I'm always hesitant to stop and eat like away from everybody, because you don't want to sit down obviously at a table and eat with their guests. Right. I mean, you go in a back room, you step away, whatever the case may be. So I was actually working a wedding for Alyssa in Charleston, and I had just stepped away. They were dancing. Everybody was perfect. We had already it was a great time to step away. And I had just sat down, just took a bite of food. And here comes people running in to get me. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? and a grandma of the couple had fell back on her wrist and broke her arm. And so that's like vividly in my memory. And not that I could have caught her, I would, but it's like that's what you
Yeah.
remember. Like you sat down to eat, you take your first bite, and grandma has fell on the dance floor, and it's sad, but you
It's
just
trauma.
you yes, and yeah, and you want to make sure, again, not that I could have caught her. I could have been in the bathroom, I could have been
Yeah.
helping somebody to the car, whatever the case may be, but it's just the fact that I was sitting down to eat.
Yeah. It sticks with you
So
for sure.
yes, it does. It does. So the next one is, tell us a little bit about that birthday party. I know we talked a little bit, but anything that you sticks out to you, traditions or?
It was really cool, actually. Like, it was she wanted it to be very elegant. Like, she was turning 70, and when I talked to her on the consult call, she was on a treadmill. A
Oh my
treadmill.
gosh.
I was like, I'm out
That's
of
so
breath
cool.
for you when I'm sitting in a chair. Like, she was just so nice and down to earth. But I would have to say the most memorable part, other than obviously like her being an awesome human being, was the attire that everybody showed up in. Like, it was so cool
Oh
and smooth.
wow.
Like, she flew in saxophone player from New York City, and like he just had this cool vibe about him. And then they all came in like traditional Nigerian, attire, and it was just beautiful. And it's on some of our pictures, like you can see some of the outfits, but
Yeah.
it was something I'd never done, and it was beautiful, just like the Indian weddings and the Hindu wedding, like all those different cultural elements that you're not
Mhm.
normally, exposed to. And it's
Yes.
just, I don't know, like I really enjoyed it.
I
So if
agree.
you
And
don't
I
mind
agree
doing
with
a
you.
birthday party, call me.
Yes, exactly. Call Bianca. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
And I think that's another
great
thing
time.
that I would say that I want to do more of here in Nashville is more, multicultural events or weddings
Yes.
and, the whole nine yards. We've done a couple and I've assisted with a couple in different locations, but I would definitely say that's something I really want to do here in Nashville.
I love learning the traditions and the cultural elements. I think that part's really cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's it really sticks out for sure. I think
Yeah.
a recent event that I wanted to touch on too, we did a March Mingle, and that was for other wedding or event vendors in the Nashville area. So what we did for the first part of the day, we did a styled shoot, and then we transitioned to a networking event from 4 to 7 that afternoon. And it was so much fun. We had make your own trucker hats with Get Lit here in Nashville, permanent jewelry with them as well. We had gelato. We had cookies from down in Franklin. We had with Cookie and Co. We had let's see, we had so many different things. Make your own flower bar with Bianca, actually from here in Nashville with the flower chick. So
Hey,
it
babe.
was a huge hit. Yes. Yes, but it was so much fun and was a
Yeah.
huge hit just because it's a different type of networking event. They were able to come mingle, but it was a long enough window that they could get permanent jewelry and they could go and make your own trucker hat or make your own flower bar. And they left with pieces, and not just,
Yeah.
the connections and business cards, so it really stuck out and it was so much fun. I mean, my team and
Yeah.
I loved planning it and loved, the whole aspect and realm around it and would love to do something like that again. So
Yeah. That's a cool
yeah,
experience because then you can actually share with your clients. I did experience this firsthand. Like, it's
yes,
cool.
exactly. Yes. And like I said, it was so much fun. The trucker hat bar was so cool. And just the different little patches, there was something for everyone. It wasn't like, you had to make a hat or if you wanted to,
Yeah.
you had so many different options to choose from.
I can't believe they're coming back again. I love it though.
Yes.
Reminds me
Me
of those
too.
Von
Me
Dutch
too.
days.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
Um, let's see. What are some ideas for others that are celebrating anniversaries?
Oof, let's see. Well, we just did that 10-year vow renewal. So I think those are always super
Yeah.
special to celebrate a milestone. Um, it obviously rained on ours if anyone saw those photos, but my team was amazing. And it always helps when you have, a couple that just genuinely loves each other. And you can see that in their photos. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's beautiful. Like, he'd overcome some adversities and, they're still going strong after 10 years and all the challenges. And it rained on their renewal day. Like, you can either look at that and be like, poor me, or you can look at that and embrace it and like, it's a
Right.
clean start. Like, everything's washed away. Like, let's start. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a very symbolic person, and I look at my couples like that too. And Nicole just had like the coolest personality, and Amanda killed it. Like her and Lindsay literally took that vow renewal and just they ran with it. They turned
Oh,
what
I
could have
love
been a
that.
sappy, wet wash into something very pretty.
Oh, I love that. That's so
Yeah, they're
sweet.
awesome.
I love that. I think some other things about with like anniversaries and vow renewals and stuff too. I think would be really cool to do a brunch vow renewal and just
Yeah,
do like very like it would just be so cool, and just the whole aspect behind that, kind of like the farewell brunch that I mentioned, but just kind of,
yeah.
you know, French toast, and it just sounds so cool. And a
It
wedding. I mean,
would.
you could do that too.
Yeah, I've seen so many of those ambush weddings. They're super cool. We did, it was actually last, I want to say August. We did an ambush renewal, which was really cool. I had a girl reach out to me and
Uh-huh.
tell me, about a couple of situations and how she wanted to just celebrate and make a clean slate of it. And they had visited the area and fell in love. And we booked the Curtis Museum in Hammondsport, and we
Oh,
did like a walkthrough. Like he was super interested in aviation and all of the things. So we set up a scavenger hunt
okay.
through the Curtis Museum, which was awesome. And yeah, and he had no idea, and it led him to the altar where they were renewing, but he didn't know it, but she did. It was super
Oh
cute.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
And then prior to that, backing it up, I set up this thing with Point of the Bluff Vineyards, huge
Uh-huh.
vineyard in our area. There's concerts and stuff there. It's gorgeous, but they set up like a VIP experience for them, but they had no idea. So they did that part,
Oh.
then they did the renewal, and then the following morning we booked a private boat tour on the Pat in Hammondsport. And I took wine glasses and charcuterie and stuff and put it out there for when they would walk down. It was kind of a surprise. And then they
Oh
just
my
set sail, just the two of them, and
gosh.
it was so cool. But
Oh
yeah,
my
I
God, I
love
love
those
that. Now
ambush.
I want that tradition to come to Nashville. Go ahead and pass
Yeah,
that on.
yeah, so fun.
That sounds so fun. Oh my gosh, I love the little surprise aspect to it. It's almost like a
Yeah,
proposal in a way, but it's a
right.
different kind of spin on things. So I love
Hmm.
that. That's perfect.
Yeah,
Let's see here
super
for the
fun.
next question. We've only got a couple more. Any fun events that you've had recently? We kind of touched on that a little bit. I think
Yeah.
for me would be like the March Mingle. I've had some really cool weddings here lately, and really great people that I've worked with that I've really enjoyed. A lot of cool networking events here lately. Hills and Handshakes in March was at the Nissan Stadium, which was so cool. And to be like actually in the stadium, get to see the
Yeah.
kind of whole aspect. It was a Women's Day speaker, so that was really cool. I
Thanks.
think that's what's really stuck out to me a lot lately is those networking events and different spins on things, whether it's
Yeah.
Chiefs, new on Broadway, Morgan Wallen's bar. There's lots of different ones that I really stick out here in Nashville with networking events. What about you?
Yeah. I would have to say a lot of the same. I mean, other than like the kind of shift that we've done this season
Uh-huh.
with more parties to kick the season off versus weddings, I think that's been awesome. Um, I'm looking forward to, I guess, bringing more on, like booking more holiday parties and those
Mhm.
types of things too. And, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. I love my weddings, don't get me wrong, but it's always fun to have those surprise elements that, don't carry that much pressure. And it's just a completely fun based atmosphere. It's not the
Yes.
seriousness of the ceremony. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Some more fun.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that would um definitely be something. Now, do you have any upcoming events that are like that you've booked here recently that you want to touch on?
We've got a couple more parties. We're going to be doing a bridal expo. It's going to be the first one at the Manor House in
Oh yeah.
Hammondsport. Yeah, that
Yes.
place is beautiful. The view alone, like it's gorgeous. Art and his
Oh
family are
my
so
gosh.
sweet and so nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. And then in July, we've got the Finger Lakes Wine Fest over in
Okay.
Watkins. So that's going to be a cooker. I'm hoping the heat advisory stuff goes away because on that blacktop at the track, it's going to be a little warm.
Oh gosh. That's
But
gonna
we'll
be
be there
so hot.
supporting
I'll
you.
send you some fans.
Right? We're gonna need them. Those ice packs, whatever you need.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll accept
Oh my
donations.
gosh. Yeah. That sounds so fun though. I'm excited for you for the
Yeah,
wine festival. That sounds like a whole new spin on things, and then you can bring
yeah.
that here too.
I mean, it's gonna be exciting. They do it every year, and it's a multi-day event, so you never really know what's gonna happen. Like there's a toga
Right.
party. It's colorful. It's fun, but there's a lot of businesses and people and professionals that go there. So exposure is the key, and why not have fun while you're doing it?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really cool too is and to tell our listeners as well is we don't just plan events or just
Right.
weddings. We can plan festivals, we can plan concerts, we can plan, fundraisers, whatever
Yeah.
that like aspect is that, it needs to be celebrated or honored or whatever the
Mhm.
case may be for you. We would love to help with that, But here in
Yeah.
Nashville, Bianca in New York, and all the other cities, I'm sure would agree.
Yeah, we're participating. Crystal City's like a big thing for Corning, New York. Like
Okay.
it's on TV, like it's huge. So we're participating. This year's the 50th. So
Oh
we're
my
actually going to
gosh.
sponsor the sleigh for the photo opportunity.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so we're
Oh
going to decorate that.
my
So
gosh.
we'll all be there, and we're going to be doing like a hot chocolate booth and all that stuff. So there's lots of fun to come and experience with us. So if anyone's in the area
Oh
at Christmas time,
my gosh.
everyone
Yes,
knows
I
I love
love
Hallmark
that.
movies.
Yes.
I'm a Hallmark
Yes.
junkie, so my hometown and area reminds me, and it's always in like the top places to film a Hallmark movie. So I'm going to be living out my Christmas dream this year
Oh
with
my
my
gosh,
team.
I'm gonna have to come visit you for this
Yeah,
Christmas and like
with my
see this.
team.
That would be so cool. Oh
Yeah,
my
we're
gosh,
excited.
I love that. That sounds so fun. I love all
Hoping
these
for
different
snow.
aspects. Yes. Pray for snow.
Yes,
Only on that one, right?
just that one. That's it.
Yeah. Yes.
No other
That's it.
precipitation. No, just that one.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Well, I think that's all I have for today. I don't know if you have anything else you want to share, and then we can kind of wrap up and tell everybody how to find us.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's looking for, planners or advice or anything like that, reach out. We'll give you a proposal, and we'd love to help support and venture into new areas. So of
Yes,
planning,
I
that is.
agree. Yes, I agree. I agree. And I'm the same way. We would love to work with you guys and all the
Yeah.
different aspects of events, or like we said, fundraisers, concerts, festivals, Christmas events, Christmas showcases and all there's so many
All the
different ideas.
holidays.
All these like
Yeah.
pop up. Yes. And we're at the perfect time because we're thinking Christmas in July. So everybody think
Yes,
about that.
exactly.
Yeah. So again, my name is Ashley. I'm here in Nashville, and you can find me on the website or our Instagram, whatever the case may be. And then we have
Bianca from Finger Lakes area, New York. And you can find me on Instagram as well, or Bianca at stunningandbrilliantevents.com.
yes. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and don't forget to tune in next week, and we appreciate it. Have a great day and the rest of your week.